Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video. And today we are playing an Insidious Roots combo style deck, and it revolves around this 2-mana enchantment from Murder's Card of Mana. It's an enchantment that has creature tokens you control have tapped to add 1 mana of any colour, and whenever one or more creature cards leave your graveyard, create a 0/1 green plant creature token. Then put a +1/+1 counter on each plant you control, and obviously then the idea, those tokens can then tap to add 1 mana of any colour. And this isn't limited to 1 a turn, although it is limited to 1 plant per chunk. So if you exile multiple things from your graveyard, at the same time you'll only get 1 plant, but if you exile multiple things in the same turn but separately, you will get as many plants as you do that. We didn't play this before, but it was around. Not sure why I didn't play it, but it has got some upgrades in Aetherdrift. One of them is Molt, a 1 mana 1/1, which has tap to mill a card, then tap to exile a card from your graveyard, add 1 mana of any colour, and obviously exiling a card, and if it's a creature card, will trigger Insidious Roots. And the other one is Loot the Pathfinder, the new loot, which we very rarely play, because we don't have lands that can produce those blue or red, but obviously with the plants we might be able to. But he is a 2/4 with double strike, vigilance and haste, and has 3 exhaust abilities, exhaust being a new mechanic from Aetherdrift. Basically you can activate an exhaust ability only once per game, per card as well. So green, tap to add 3 mana of any colour, blue, tap to draw 3 cards, red, tap, deal 3 damage to any target. The really weird thing about loot, I think, is that tap a blue to draw 3 cards, red to deal 3 to any target. They are Ancestral, not Ancestral Recall. Lightning Bolt is the red one, and blue one, there was a card from Alpha, it might have been Ancestral Recall. Target player draws 3 cards, and then obviously 3 mana of any one colour is Dark Ritual, but it's green, not black. It's very weird. The idea though is we get loot into our graveyard, exile it with Agatha Soul Cauldron, which lets us tap it, exile a target card from a graveyard. If when a creature card is exiled that way, we put a +1/+1 counter on target creature we control. And creatures we control with +1/+1 counters on them have all the activated abilities of all creatures card exiled with Agatha Soul Cauldron. Because all our plants are going to have +1/+1 counters on from Insidious Roots, it means if we exile a loot with Agatha Soul Cauldron, all our plants then have these exhaust abilities, which is really powerful. We do also have another new card in Dredger's Insight, a 2 mana enchantment. It says whenever 1 or more artifact and or creature cards leave our graveyard, we gain 1 life, and then when it enters we mill 4, then we may put an artifact, creature or land from among the mill cards into a hand. Again, if it's a creature card, it triggers Insidious Roots and would also gain life. Rounding out the deck, the other key combo piece is Tyvar Jubilant Brawler, a 3 mana planeswalker, and it says we may activate abilities of creatures we control as though they have haste. That includes tapping to create mana, so we can tap our plants to produce mana, or maybe for exhaust the turn they come into play with Tyvar. Then we can +1 to untap target creature, -2 to mill 3 cards, then we may return a creature card mana value 2 or less from our graveyard to the battlefield. So the perfect draw is a 1-drop into Insidious Roots, into Tyvar, -2, we mill 3, put a creature onto the battlefield, that counts as a creature leaving the graveyard, so we create a plant, and then we can tap that for mana, and maybe if we get a Molt back with Tyvar, we can tap it at mill, or tap it exile a card, produce mana of any colour, thus ramping us. Rounding out the deck, we have 4 copies of Rubble Belt Maverick, a 1 mana 1/1 when it enters the battle 2, so great to get cards in the graveyard, and we can pay green to exile this card from our graveyard, triggering Insidious Roots, to put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, activate owns a sorcery. So this obviously has synergy with Agatha Soul Cauldron as well. And then 4 copies of Snarling Gorehound, a 1 mana 1/1 with Menace, and whenever creature we control with power 2 or less enters, we surveil 1, so again, a great way to stop the graveyard. And then finally we have Ossimancer Adept, a 2 mana 2/2 Death Touch, and we can tap it until end of turn. We may cast creature spells from our graveyard by foraging in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that creature enters with a finality counter. Foraging means we've got to sack a food, which we don't have, or exile 3 cards from our graveyard. So again, this can come down, tap it on the same turn it comes down if we've got Tyvar, and then we can just cast all our creature cards from our graveyard by exiling maybe other creature cards to get some double Insidious Roots action, because that exiling will trigger Insidious Roots, and then when we the creature comes into play from the graveyard, it'll trigger Insidious Roots, or maybe we can just exile all the non-creatures in our graveyard because we can have a lot of lands and other cards in there as well. And then finally, 4 copies of Overlord of the Balmurk, 5 mana, 5/5, been pending 5 for 2, and when it enters or attacks with mill 4, then you may return a non-avatar creature card or planeswalker from your graveyard to a hand. So again, a great way to get a creature back from a graveyard, triggering Insidious Roots. So I did try it with a new card in Aetherdrift called Afterburner Expert, which is a 3 mana 4/2, and it says when you activate an exhaust ability, return it from the graveyard to the battlefield, and it has exhaust when you pay 2 generic, 2 green to put a 2+1/+1 counters on it. And the idea is, if we get them in the graveyard and then activate exhaust ability from loot, we can get them all back. It has never really worked out. I didn't play Rubble Belt Maverick at the start, but that is the much better card to go in the deck because it's a 1-drop to smooth out our curve. It surveils and then it can exile itself from the graveyard. So that's the final deck we've gone with. So this is a deck. Let's jump into some gameplay and see how it holds up. We do go first. Keep out the Mortuary. I'm going to keep that for now. We'll play out the Gorehound and then the Molt Tender. I'll keep another Dredger's Insight. Wow, 4 lands. Well, 3 lands. Well, let's get the Osteomancer. And then we'll play out a second Dredger's Insight. And we'll get back a Overlord. And get it for 1. Second up the Beanstalk. They're going to draw a lot of cards. Well, let's... No, I'd like a Tyvar. Obviously would love an Insidious Roots. When we have 1 in the graveyard. Yeah. Overlord? Yep.
It's not a victory.
Wow, okay. Put away another Tyvar and a loot. The question is, what do they do? Yep, that's annoying. Well, that's what we want. But no Tyvar means we can't activate it at instant speed. But obviously we are in quite a bit of trouble. I'll be very surprised if I don't have another leyline binding. I don't know why they didn't just play that properly. Well, let's Tyvar. And mill.
Let's pound these metal monstrosities into dust. We're in this.
We will get back a adept. Let's exile another loot. We'll put a counter on the adept. What else do we have down there? You can tap the adept. And we'll play out a Molt tender. And we'll get rid of some lands. And then let's exile a Verge to play a Gorehound. Out of 26. Let's get another Gorehound. I'm not sure that really did much. And then we'll, yeah, we are running out of cards in our graveyard. But then what we do, add a red. We'll get rid of a adept. We are running out of stuff. We are running out of cards in our library as well. I'm doing red so we can take out Zer, and hopefully we don't have another one in hand. Basically, I need to stop. If they do have another Zer, we do have enough plants, I think, to take care of it. We're at 38, so obviously we can take a hit. Well, that wasn't great. And now we only have 8 cards left in our library. I don't like mulliganing if we've got playable cards, but we really need like without Insidious Roots, this deck is, well, it doesn't do anything. I got the Soul Cauldron as well to potentially give something Luke's exhaust abilities. Gearhulk, I imagine, takes Tyvar. Sometimes magic is quite funny.
I have arrived. Told you I won't let you fall.
And we'll get back a Gorehound. And let's play out the Gorehound. We've got a pretty decent board. And the Osteomancer can kill the Gearhulk. We are exactly halfway through our deck, and we've not seen anything yet. We've not seen our Insidious Roots. Which means we're getting more and more likely to actually just mill them. All 4 Robot Mavericks in the graveyard. Yay! And Insidious Roots.
You've got this.
Tyvar is going to die though. Because obviously the Memory Guardian can just attack it down. Well, and our opponent scoops, although without a Tyvar we can't tap the plants for mana, but we can create 1, 2, 3, 4 more plants, which would be pretty beefy and get in the way of the Gearhulk. I'm guessing next as will be coming is for Thunder, the gnome that comes down and creates more gnomes, which would go wide, but we're going to go pretty wide as well. We go first, and we have Insidious Roots. So I think we keep this. Elves? Next turn we Dredger's Insight. Yeah, we Dredger's Insight because Tyvar will just get attacked down. And we will get back a Molt Tender. Next turn we can Tyvar. And hopefully get back a creature. Yeah, that's annoying. Well, that's Tyvar. -2.
Let's pound these little monstrosities into. We're in this together.
Get back a Maverick. No, that's fine. Let's exile our Overlord. Yeah, we don't have anything in graveyards that we particularly want to exile. Yeah, they have a lot of mana. Oh, we can't activate it as a sorcery. Let's put a counter on a plant. Let's mill. Let's untap. And let's mill.
I believe in you, friend.
I'm actually going to play the Maverick. I wish it tapped land on our waste, not one of our creatures. There is loot. And we'll put counter on Molt Tender. And yeah, our opponent scoops. We probably, how much mana and stuff do we have? We can tap the Molt Tender for, well, Molt Tender for 1. Probably should have put a counter on the Maverick actually. So we could have, we had 1, 2, 3, 4 mana or 3 mana. So we could whack, probably kill their Archdruid and maybe their Imperious Perfect. But yeah, pretty good game in the end. Well, we go first. Roots into Tyvar, although we will need another untapped land. Oh, there's an untapped land. Well, let's see if we hit something.
Today we carve our deeds in.
We do. Molt Tender, very good as well. And yeah, we can... I think we just play out the Maverick. Just hopefully they don't have temporary lockdown. Let's see if this resolves. It does. And we will get rid of the Molt Tender. We'll play the Soul Cauldron and then untap that root, the plant.
Ready for round 2.
And we'll get him for 4. Or not. Take their on summon in case they have something, you know, they've got a Stormchaser's talent. Just a second, Collector's Vault. Well, let's mill. And let's mill again. And I will cast the Maverick. I'll keep that for now. And yeah, let's just swing in then. They are going digging. They can still sunfall and temporary lockdown. They can't sunfall anymore. And yeah, our opponent's scoops. They were digging, but couldn't find the answer. Oh, there's Insidious Roots. I think we put back the underground mortuary. Now we're just looking for things we can exile from our graveyard. That aren't lands. We will do this now, just in case we mill a creature. But obviously we don't. We just mill in all our lands. We've already seen a quarter of our lands. Well, another Insidious Roots. Let's... Well, we do exile a Molt Tender. So we can create a couple of plants. But we are just getting beat down. We'll get back a Gorehound. Play out a Gorehound. Nowhere to run takes out one of our plants. And our opponent scoops. We do have, obviously, Fear of Isolation is a bit of a problem doing 2 a turn. Probably would have kept Dredger's Insight on top. That way we start gaining more life. And we do have some beefy plants to block their things. The reason I was holding up Agatha's Soul Cauldron if they ended up leveling up Storm Chaser's talent to get back this talent big enough. But if they didn't, probably would have exiled Osteomancer's Adept at the end of their turn to create more plants. Well, we'll mulligan. We'll keep this. Probably put back the Osteomancer. We'll keep that. Yeah, so they're playing Raise the Past style deck. We will get back a Osteomancer. And yeah, we'll get a play a Molt Tender. Yeah, there's a Razor Pass in the graveyard. Well, we do have a loot in the graveyard. Let's play out a Maverick. Don't need more lands. Problem is, if I have Raised the Past, we're just, I think, a bit knackered. And a land, obviously. It's a shame Molt Tender can't exile cards from our opponent's graveyard. Oh, there's a land. They have red ahead, so maybe wait for their next turn. Well, I do think we draw. That wasn't the best draw in the world. Well, we're definitely going to kill their ill core. Just so much land. Right, we need to discard 2 cards. So we'll discard a Molt Tender and a Blooming Marsh. Hopefully they don't have one in hand. Oh, we have another ill core. But we can play out an Insidious Roots and a Tyvar. Get back a Molt Tender. We will take out their ill core again. And swing in. Create another plant. And yeah, we'll kill their Starscape Cleric. And yeah, we can just draw. And hope they don't top deck. Raise the pass. Have a, well, that nice, I thought they maybe did. Whew. Hello Magic fans and welcome back to the wrap up. I really wanted to like this deck, but I just don't think it takes so much for it to work that I don't think it's plausible. The problem is you need Insidious Roots in your opening hand. If you don't have Insidious Roots, you mulligan to get it, because without Insidious Roots your deck doesn't work. You're not going to win with random 1/1s and, you know, Impending Overlord or whatever. It's just not going to happen. And the problem is we have ways to get cards back from our graveyard, like Tyvar and Dredger's Insight and Ossimancer Adept and Overlord, but they only, none of them get back enchantments. Dredger's Insight can get back an artifact, creature or land, so not an enchantment. So if you don't have in your opening hand, there's no point playing because you don't know when you can draw it and you may mill them. That's the biggest problem. The other problem, and we've seen this in a few decks, is if you look at our cards, all of them, apart from 11, are 2 mana or less. So they just, the deck just gets destroyed by temporary lockdown, which a lot of other decks play. So, you know, it sucks building up a huge board and going, right, I can get lethal next turn because, you know, I've got 5 plants which are all massive and we can smash in and win, and then your opponent just plays temporary lockdown and there's no way to get it back. We don't play any removal, which isn't particularly an issue, but obviously you could play something like Tear Asunder to maybe deal with temporary lockdown, but then you lose critical pieces from the deck. The other issue is there's no way to discard, so if you have loot in your open hand or draw loot, it's often a dead card because you don't want it in your hand, you want it in your graveyard. So it just takes far too much to get going. When it works, it's really fun and really powerful, but it's just not there, especially in this fast meta that we're in. As they say, you play out everything, and turn 3 they just temporarily lock down our turn 5 Sunfall, and they have a 20/20 incubate token. So unfortunately, I don't think it's that good. You'll see other content creators, I think, say it's good. I would take that over a pinch of salt. Obviously, they're probably a lot better than me, but there's too much that can go wrong, and it needs everything to go right, and I just don't think that really works, unfortunately. But when it works, it's fun. So, try it if you must. There are quite a lot of mythics in here, in Overlord and Loot and Soul Cauldron. So not the cheapest deck to craft, so craft it at your own discretion. But anyway, hope you'll enjoy it, and I'll see you all in the next video.